I'm not gonna spend this whole time talking about Jake Gyllenhaal because he kind of ruined her fairy tale. I remember it. And that also connects to the short film because I'm taking notes. This is the shift here, a huge missing piece. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Nena. If you are new here, welcome. I'm so happy that you're here, and if you're not new, thanks for coming back. Today we are doing an all too well 10-minute version from the vault lyric breakdown. All 10 minutes of lyrics here. I feel like in my album reaction and also my album ranking, all too well 10-minute version just didn't get enough attention for what it is, truly. So I decided today that I'm going to go line by line, English class style, analyzing lyrics, what they mean, parallels between this song and other songs, and just everything. For those of you who don't know, I have a degree in English, so I'm very used to analyzing poems and just like writing down literary devices, metaphors, all the stuff. So I haven't done this in a while, so it'll be fun. If you guys want to learn all too well 10-minute version on guitar, like Taylor Swift played it at SNL, click the link up here. I did a video about it, and also I've done videos for pretty much almost every song, almost every song on Red Taylor's version, so check that out if you want to. But yeah, let's just get into it. You know, usually I'm filming in the morning, so I have coffee, hot chocolate, whatever, but it's like 4 something right now and the sun's about to go down, so I'm gonna try to finish this video before it gets dark. But I thought it would be fun to have a little happy hour wine night and break down some Taylor Swift lyrics. My kind of Friday night, truly. Okay, so looking at the 5-minute and the 10-minute all too well, there were so many plot holes there. It's almost like the most important part of the story wasn't there in the 5-minute version, and now everything makes sense. There's just a lot more insight into what all too well is about. I'm not gonna talk about, oh my god, I keep dropping my pen. I'm not gonna spend this whole time talking about Jake Gyllenhaal because but we're gonna talk about these lyrics and the metaphorical relationship that's happening. And also, I'd like to bring in some aspects of the short film because there was a lot of things in there that connect to the lyrics really well. So, starting with verse 1, the beginning of the relationship. So this is like she's meeting the sister, you know? They're getting established in the relationship. I walked through the door with you. Okay, so that's an important word because with meaning like beside someone, they're equals, you know. In the beginning it's like, I'm with you. The air was cold, obviously that means it's like fall, winter time, sets us in the present moment. It is cold weather, which honestly is a little bit of foreshadowing, like the air was cold. Oh, I just got chills. That could mean like a weird premonition, like the air was cold, this is doomed from the beginning. So it's a sensory detail, but it's also kind of foreshadowing the relationship here. I'm taking notes. But then we get to this line, but something about it felt like home somehow. Something about it made this cold place feel like home. Had to have been the guy that she's with, obviously. And then she left her scarf at the sister's house, so that's how you know, like, there's that familial, like, oh, she's meeting the family for the first time and she's feeling at home finally. And then the last line lets us know she's looking back on this. So the first 3 lines are like she's setting a scene, and it isn't until the last line of this first verse that you realize she's looking back at it. Yes, everything is in past tense, but it's kind of goes over your head, and then you hear this last line where it's like, and you've still got it in your drawer even now. So she's singing in the present about the past. That's how you know, like, the perspective that's going on here. And that also connects to the short film because at the end of the short film, you know that each of the chapters in the short film are her writing these like sections of the relationship, and she's looking back on it. So the narrator is writing in the current moment about the past. And then we have a scene from the past. So this is verse 2. I call it verse 2. I don't know. There's a million verses in this 10-minute version, so I'm calling this verse 2. Sweet disposition. Hey Siri, what does disposition mean? I know what it means, but I just want to get a... Okay. Yes. So when she says sweet disposition, it means like he came across first inherently being good. Like, oh, he's just so sweet. That's just his character. What he is portraying as himself to her, she thinks is, you know, his character, when it's kind of like a front. We come to find out that that's just the surface there. Wide-eyed gaze. So whenever you see wide-eyed, it reminds me of like a child. Like, I'm a wide-eyed child. Like, they have like big eyes for the world, big imagination, kind of naive. So this is like, you know, points out that she was so much younger than him. He was what, 30, 31, and she was 19. That's a whole like life away. Two different stages of life there. I know, like, you know, age isn't that big of a deal when you're older. So say you're like 50 and 62. That 10 years isn't much different than the next 10 years, if that makes sense. But from 19 to 31, you could be a whole different person in a whole different place. Like, there's so much change that happens in your 20s. The fact that she's referring to herself as kind of like a wide-eyed child, thinking nothing could go wrong. This is like her first adult relationship here, and she thinks nothing's gonna go wrong here. Oh boy. They're singing in the car, getting lost upstate New York, so that's just a place. And then we have one of my favorite lines. Autumn leaves are falling down like pieces into place. We know it's the fall, and that's just, you know, like inherently a metaphor. You're falling in love, you know. Everything is going perfectly as according to plan. Everything is fitting into place. Like, oh my gosh, too good to be true. That's all I have to say about that. That is a point that we all reach at some point in our lives. We're like, this is just perfect. This has to be what is supposed to happen. And then, you know, and I can picture it after all these days. It's like at the end of each verse, she has like a moment where she brings you back to her current perspective. It's like I can still picture that scene after all this time. Like, ooh. I feel like we all have that sometimes where we like can picture something, a memory so vividly because we thought that was like perfect, you know? And then we go into like, it's kind of like a pre-chorus, I would say. Mostly in the 5-minute version, I would call this the pre-chorus, but in the 10-minute version, there's just so much going on. It's kind of like just an extension of the verse, but it goes, you know, and I know it's long gone and the magic's not there no more. I might be okay, but I'm not fine at all. Like, yeah. That wide-eyed child, the autumn leaves falling, that magic does not exist. He kind of ruined her fairy tale mindset towards love, truly. Because she went from Fearless and Speak Now, where it's like writing love story. Today was a fairy tale, sparks fly, enchanted, also whimsical views about love. And then she dives headfirst into Red with this song, treacherous, Red. Everything is a double-edged sword on Red, truly. There's like intense good and intense bad. So that's kind of what the pre-chorus is like. He kind of made her realize that fairy tales don't always work out the way that you think they will. I don't know how long after that whole situation she wrote this song, but I do know that this is the first song that she wrote for the Red album, and that's so telling because that line where it says, I might be okay, but I'm not fine at all. Like she's still not over it. It's like she's doing okay, but she's like not over it yet. And each chorus takes you through a happy memory, which is interesting. Like flashbulb memories. So I took a psych class in high school, and so this is one of the only things I remember, but it's like a flashbulb memory where you remember every vivid detail about a specific moment, and I feel like that's what she takes us through in these choruses because it just like, this image just comes to your mind as soon as you hear these choruses. Like, here we are again on the little town street. You almost ran the red, you were looking over at me. The hook of this song is, I remember it all too well. And so for the whole first part of the song, it's, I remember that. Kind of like trying to convince herself like that was real to me, because it seems as though he kind of gaslights her into thinking like those moments weren't real, you know, like that wasn't real love. And she's like, but it was. I remember it. I remember that magical moment, you know, when we were driving in the car and it just seemed everything was perfect. That's a really powerful line. I remember it all too well. So you can't tell me that that didn't happen and that wasn't how we were both feeling. This was mutual here. And then we get into verse 3, and this is where She switches it up in the 10-minute version here. Now she's at the mother's house. She's getting to know his family. Photo album on the counter, cheeks were turning red. Used to be a little kid with glasses in a twin-size bed. Oh my god, do you guys remember when Jake Gyllenhaal, I know I wasn't gonna talk about him, but I think this is funny. He posted a photo of himself as a kid with glasses on, and you know what the Swifties did? Flooded the comments with that specific lyric. Used to be a little kid with glasses in a twin-size bed. Like, that's freaking funny. I know this happened 10 years ago, and it's a little bit much, and just like, he really messed up, but just kind of just leave him alone. We don't need to talk about him anymore. We don't need to like bring him up anymore, honestly. But that was really funny. You told me about your past, thinking your future was me. She felt special in that moment that she got to hear these childhood stories. Like, why else would you focus on learning someone's past if you weren't thinking they were still gonna be there with you? This is very pointed at him. You told me about your past, thinking your future was me. I wonder if she just assumed that he thought she was gonna be in his future, like he really thought that they could go the distance, or if he actually said that, made her think that, you know? I feel like sometimes men have this really weird ability to make you think like that they think, like, it's like they say something without actually saying it. They kind of imply that. So maybe he implied like this in the future, and she was like, oh, like he really wants to stay with me forever. And then they're like, whoa, I never said that. I didn't mean that, you know? What do you mean? You crazy. This is the shift here. Even the sound of her voice shifts here. And you were tossing me the car keys, F the patriarchy. Like, I screamed on the floor. If you guys haven't seen my reaction video, go check that out. It's really funny. But I was literally on the floor when I heard that. This is funny because this is when it starts to go downhill and she starts to see the parts of him that aren't so good. And you can see that in the short film especially, because tosses her the car keys, and it's kind of like people were so confused whether she was talking about the car keys, the keychain said F the patriarchy, or he just said F the patriarchy and threw the keys at her. Like, is it an actual keychain? I think it might be probably a double meaning here, but definitely shows like performative feminism, kind of underhandedly, almost sarcastically, like, F the patriarchy, you're gonna drive me. And she's thinking like, oh, that's so cute, like, he's empowering me. No. And so he like threw these keys at her, she didn't catch it, and they're on the ground. And so she like picks them up and, you know, gets in the car and drive. We were always skipping town. So it kind of seems like they were always getting out of town to hang out, because maybe he just didn't want to be seen with her. He was kind of embarrassed. I don't know. That's kind of what it sounded like. And she's thinking, oh, he's taking me away to, you know, a special place. He's gonna tell me that he loves me, finally. He's gonna say it's love. Anytime now, he's gonna say it's love. And this is where the connections with all the other songs on Red come into play here, because it says, you never called it what it was, till we were dead and gone and buried. He didn't call it love while they were together. He came back to her and said, I love you, months after they had broken up, after he realized like that he messed up. So it's like, till we were dead and gone and buried. That's when he decided he was gonna tell her he loves her. But honestly, you don't even know if he means it at that point. He might just want her back, just to have her back. Knows that that's the one thing that she wanted, was for him to say, I love you back. And he never did it. And now that he has, now she's like in this self-destructive mode where she's like, oh my god, that's the one thing I wanted to hear, struggling with, does he mean it or not, you know? And then it goes, check the pulse and come back swearing it's the same. So it's like, he's swearing that things haven't changed, the love has never changed, but she's like, are you kidding me? It's been how long? And you couldn't say it back then? After 3 months in the grave, that's how you know, like 3 months after they broke up, this is when he came back. The secret message of State of Grace is, I love you doesn't count after goodbye. That's kind of how you know, like, that doesn't count. Just because you're desperate to get me back, you can't just say, I love you. Like, that's cheating. We don't know the details, obviously. Like, let's just think that it's this hypothetical relationship. So say she, like, takes him back briefly, and then he just still doesn't treat her well. And she's like, well, now she feels shameful that she took him back, even though, like, he did say I love you in the end, and you held my lifeless frame. He just took the life out of her, man. That kind of makes me think of that line in Dear John where it's like, all the girls you've run dry have tired, lifeless eyes. I feel like this guy drained the life out of her. It goes back into the pre-chorus. So that was a huge, huge chunk of meaning right there. That was like a huge missing piece. And I know it's long gone. There was nothing else I could do. There was literally nothing else you could do to save this relationship here. Okay, it's getting kind of dark. I'm gonna turn on my ring light. I feel like I've been talking a million miles a minute here. Okay, let's keep going. So we got the pre-chorus again. And I forget about you long enough to forget why I needed to. That is such a loaded line. Forget about you long enough to forget why I needed to. That's one you gotta read a lot and really let that sink in. It's not like she feels indifference, but she just like has to stop thinking about him so she will remember why she needed to, because honestly sometimes feeling nothing is better than keep opening that wound, if you know what I mean. Chorus 2. Here we are again in the middle of the night, dancing around the kitchen in the refrigerator light. And I think she did a really good job of portraying this scene in the short film where they're dancing around the kitchen, and on her side it's yellow and bright, and on his side it's like blue and dark, and I feel like that's so symbolic of the narrator was just full of light and he kind of like took that away. And then this is where she added another part to this second chorus, and there we are again when nobody had to know, you kept me like a secret but I kept you like an oath. Like, okay, so I saw this thing on Tumblr where it said that this line, you kept me like a secret but I kept you like an oath, is like August in one line. And I thought that was so true, like the song August from Folklore, you guys know. Right? It's like he was kind of embarrassed, and I don't even know why. He must have just like liked her, but maybe his older friends didn't approve of him dating someone so young, or like just like, why are you dating her? She doesn't relate to us. Like, I could just see that happening. And it's like he probably did like her, but not enough to not keep her a secret, you know? But I kept you like an oath. Like, that hits. That's pretty self-explanatory right there. Between a secret is something that's like, the connotation of secret means like you don't want anyone to know. Oath is like loyalty. Secret is very malicious, deceptive. Oath is like, I swear to you I will love you forever, like, you know, just like take it to the grave type of thing. Sacred prayer, and we'd swear to remember it all too well. I like that line a lot. Okay, now we get into bridge. So I've split the bridges into two. So we got the original bridge is bridge 1, and then we got the new bridge extended part that's bridge 2. And oh my god, bridge 2 is my favorite part of this new part of the song, honestly. So we got lost in translation. That is so big. It seems like the communication was like non-existent, especially in the kitchen scene of the short film where he's screaming at her, she's screaming, and he's making her feel crazy, being like, what are you talking about? Everything is fine. What do you mean I dropped your hand? I don't even remember that. How could you like shame me for something I don't even remember doing? Like, that is so, oh my god, gaslighting 101 right there. I feel like every person has had that kind of experience with anyone in their life, honestly. Maybe we got lost in translation. They were never on the same wavelength here. They never saw eye to eye on like arguments. It just seemed as though, like, I mean, even just like from the short film, it's like nothing was resolved at the end of that scene. He was just like, I'm sorry I made you feel that way, I'm sorry. And then she just like smiles and forgives him. Like, there was no resolution, there was no I'll try harder next time, there was nothing. It was just like they fight until he's like, oh, I'm sorry, because he doesn't want her to be upset or something. I don't know. I feel like that happens a lot. Maybe this thing was a masterpiece till you tore it all up. It's like, it would have been great if you didn't mess it up. Very blame placing. Okay, so the part where this iconic line, and you call me up again just to break me like a promise, makes me think of like I Almost Do, because she was thinking about calling him, but she just knows how it's gonna end. And it seemed like he called her all the time after they broke up, like, I'll do better, let's get back together. And she every time had to just be like, I can't do this anymore. And the part where it says break me like a promise, it's almost connected to the line about you kept me like a secret. Every promise he made, he broke. So there was no reliability in that. And she was the one that was loyal to the very end. So casually cruel, I love that. That is like a great little alliteration here. Casually cruel. And that's like a very hard consonant sound, like casually cruel. And it's like something you just want to like scream. He just said so many like mean things so nonchalantly that he knew would just like annihilate her. And just casually, like you were talking about the weather, that is bad. In the name of being honest. Just because you thought you were trying to be honest, that doesn't make it okay to be mean or say awful things to someone. Crumpled up piece of paper lying here, because I remember it. Oh, oh, oh. The image of a crumpled up piece of paper, think about it. If you crumple up a piece of paper, it is never going to be perfectly like flat again. It's always going to be wrinkled. It's never going to go back to the way it was. And so I think that shows you how this relationship took a toll on the narrator, Taylor. You can never get that piece of paper to be completely flat and brand new again. That's like a very powerful image. And here we are at bridge 2. They say all's well that ends well, but I'm in a new hell. So obviously everyone immediately thought about Lover and how in that song it's like all's well that ends well to end up with you. Like that is such a 180 from this song, all's well that ends well. And she finally found obviously that all's well that ends well type of ending, but it seems like she was super cynical about that. So apparently it didn't end well, so it's not well. It was not well at the time. This is the line that got so many people. You said if we had been closer in age, maybe it would have been fine. But that is such a lie. That's just an excuse. That was totally a cop-out because he continues to date people that are so much younger than him. He's not looking to date anyone his age. I mean, the person he's dating right now I think is like 25, but that is, oh my god. Yeah, and that made me want to die. Like, that line also is just like, damn. She can't make herself older. I mean, in that scene in the short film where she like straightened her hair and put on red lipstick and like black outfit to make herself look older, and she just couldn't relate to everybody that was his age. There wasn't much she can control about that. Why would you date her in the first place if you wanted her to be closer in age? Like, that made no sense. That is like a stupid answer. Because then later on in the song we find out it's like, I'll get older but your lovers stay my age. Anyways, we'll get to that. Oh my god, this is my favorite part of the bridge. The idea you had of me, who was she? Who did you think I was when you got into this? Like, did the image of me not live up to who you thought I was? Like, huh? Okay, it's getting darker. I need to turn on some lights. Okay, we're just gonna keep going. The lighting, it'll be what it is, honestly. A never needy, ever lovely jewel whose shine reflects on you. It's like, she's like, I made you look like a better person. You being with me made you better. Like, I don't know about you, but like, that's like setting yourself on fire to make someone else warm. That's kind of how this felt, this relationship. She did everything to make him feel better, you know? Not weeping in a party bathroom. Obviously that is a parallel to The Moment I Knew, where he didn't come to her birthday party. Some actress asking me what happened. That's what happened. Charmed my dad with self-effacing jokes. So I saw that so many people had to look up what self-effacing is, but it's basically just like kind of like self-deprecating, like making jokes about himself. So that's like charming. Oh, he can joke about himself. When actuality, he's pretty much a narcissist. Sipping coffee like you're on a late night show. That just feels dirty and fake to me. I don't know. But then her dad watched her all night, watching the door, waiting for him to come, and he said, it's supposed to be fun, turning 21. And see, now everything makes sense. This is why 22 came right after this song, because 21 sucked, even though everyone says it's supposed to be the funnest, year age of your young 20s life, but her actual fun year was 22 because she didn't have to deal with this ish. And then we go back into, the original lyrics again, verse 4, so to speak. Time won't fly, it's like I'm paralyzed by it. I'd like to be my old self again, but I'm still trying to find it. It's like she will never be her old self again. She'll be someone different because of what she has gone through in this song, and that's kind of why she can't find it. That's kind of my interpretation of that situation. Plaid shirt days and nights when you made me your own. Okay, I don't know if we want to talk about a lot of people think that that was a metaphor for that, but you keep my old scarf from that very first week because it reminds you of innocence and it smells like me. So the scarf itself could be a metaphor for the narrator's innocence. And he still has it, and he'll always have it. So do with that info what you will. Then we got chorus 3, here we are again when I loved you so, back before you lost the one real thing you've ever known. So she's like, I loved you before you even realized that this was so rare. She goes, it was rare, I was there, I remember it all too well. And then this is like one of my favorite parts of the whole song, where it's like, wind in my hair, you were there, you remember it, down the stairs, you were there, you remember it. She's just like, you remember it. Why are you pretending like you don't remember it? You know, I love that perspective change here. You remember it. Or else why would he be coming back 3 months later begging for her back if he didn't remember it all too well? And then we go into this outro that really wraps it up nicely. So we got, and I was never good at telling jokes, but the punchline goes, I'll get older, but your lovers stay my age. So he kind of made her feel stupid a lot. Like, you know, this is a parallel with I Bet You Think About Me, where it's like, you laughed at my dreams and rolled your eyes at my jokes. So it's like he didn't think she was funny, whatever. But she's like, I got a joke for you. I'll get older, but your lovers are gonna stay my age. Like, ooh. From when your Brooklyn broke my skin and bones. I'm a soldier who's returning half her weight. So this kind of makes me think like being in that relationship was like going to war, and now she's just been through the ringer and she's coming back and she's just like so maimed. Did the twin flame bruise paint you blue? This is a callback of State of Grace, twin fire signs, 4 blue eyes. They were both Sagittariuses. You know, I don't think Sagittariuses, I'm a Sagittarius, and I don't think I'd be compatible with another Sagittarius. You know, fire plus fire equals explosion. So maybe, you know, did this relationship hurt you too? No. Taylor Swift goes, did the twin flame bruise paint you blue? Yeah, I could never. Shakespeare could never. Just between us, did the love affair maim you too? So she's just like, come here. Did this maim you too? No one has to know, but tell me. I need to know for my freaking sanity if this affected you at all. Because in the city's bare and cold, I still remember the first fall of snow. And so when the winter came, that's when, you know, shit hit the fan. And the rest of this song, yeah, she keeps repeating, just between us, did the love affair maim you all too well? Also, a lot of people had to look up what maim meant. Thanks to my sophomore year of English in high school, I had to know what the word maim meant, and I've never forgotten it. But yes, it means, you know, to hurt, to scar, to, you know, inflict harm upon someone. I don't know. And then it just goes kind of like she's like chanting to herself, wind in my hair, I was there, trying to like in her mind be like, I was there, this was real, I was in the car, I was in the kitchen, like kind of just like trying to convince herself like this was so real. And I really like how she did it on SNL, where the last like stanza of this ending was just her and her background singers singing this a cappella, and it was like, wind in my hair, I was there. Yes, sacred prayer, I was there. It was rare. You remember it. It ends with, you remember it. And it's just like, yes. Okay, so that was a lot of talking. I hope you guys liked this lyric breakdown. Please comment down below anything else you think these lyrics mean. This is just my opinion. This isn't fact. This isn't truth. This is just what I have gathered from the lyrics myself. I would love to know what you guys think in the comments below. But let me know if you want me to break down any other lyrics of any other Taylor Swift song, because I could do this all day. Thank you guys for watching. Please give this video a like if you enjoyed watching it. Even if you didn't enjoy watching it, please give it a like, because I think they got rid of the dislikes button, so cheers to that. Subscribe to this channel if you want more Taylor Swift content. I do guitar tutorials as well, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!